104. I started this video at 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 104, which is 05. Today is the 21st of May. And what time we believe to be as 2024 per our current calendric system. My name is Chastia. I'm many things to the collective. I've had to become many things as my brothers and sisters that are in our line in the end of days. We're in a very interesting time right now. This week. And I've started getting this information really a couple of days ago. It's why I was quiet. And for all who know, here's how it works. If you are entwined in a DNA strand, no matter how it came to pass, then you hold the consciousness of that entire group and the DNA strand and anything that was hinged to it. When you activate your true organic human abilities again, and you're holding your abilities without any siphons, without any connectors, you're able to cipher in your energy what's coming in, then you're basically an undercover brother or sister in that DNA strand. That being said, the DNA strands that they were coming after and that they were looking for in CERN and what they were trying to resurrect were Sumerian gods. That being said, they were attempting to resurrect Sumerian deity codes. Now, this is going to blow the basis of how you think reality is run. The human is energetically set up in frequencies. That's what the blood types were. That those frequencies in the blood types and their origination points since the beginning of a 1,000,000-year count is how things manifest down here in this reality through the humans. Now, here's the problem. Here's the kicker. There's a couple of things. Number one, everything that I'm fixing to explain right now, pretty much you can roll up into this statement. When you steal from the futures, but then you don't allow for the futures to complete what it is that you already stole from, If you remote view and jump into a timeline in order to bring a certain frequency into the human realm, and you remote view all the financials, you remote view people's bank accounts, you remote view who's going to win what Super Bowl, who's going to move money here, who's going to move money there. When you jump into a reality where things were being done only in a lab situation, and you steal sequences from the future in order to bring futuristic energies and powers and gifts and collective dimensional energy into a lower density, then what they ended up doing, and I need everybody to really listen to what I'm telling you right here. What they ended up doing was stopping the corporation from ever being built. So what I'm even telling you right now is that what we're witnessing, for all of us who have a high enough frequency to see it, what we're witnessing is basically this America corporation didn't get finished. Neither did the connections into the body. Neither did the human DNA connections that work into the machine in order to make a current, in order to make a power source. None of it was finished. None of it was completed. It was all stolen from the neighbor in a decimal system, because it's what it was. Whenever you're dealing with futuristic beings for the longest time, and why it was labeled as time travelers, which, by the way, didn't exist until Tesla's stuff was stolen. And now time travel has ceased to exist. We're watching the whole thing fall apart. Now, I woke up this morning thinking about my Social Security card. If you're a Generation X, and Social Security, it's socials. It literally is socials, social networks. I swear it is. This whole Gen X movement that started about clearing each other's debt, okay? It goes way deeper in an alchemy chain than what everybody's talking about. All of our data was stolen a long time ago. All of our data was stolen a long time ago. And I've known through especially 2020 and 2021, most of us that were being gang stalked were because these entities had access to the government database of left behind properties, left behind money, left behind the government. What do they call that what is it, a treasury? These entities had access to that database, and knew who you were. So they knew who your grandfather was, what DNA lines you were associated to in older timelines, in other countries' timelines, how the money was and the assets were in the United States of America, but they might have been written originally in Europe or Russia, because I mean the assets were here in United States. Everything else in other countries, I'm sorry to tell you, but it's being made from it in this end of days, in the hybridization timelines. Not how it started. It's how the human race needs to freaking. Ooh, my right ear just went out. I command this all blow today. Now, the other thing since 2020 that everybody's been trying to get a hold of independently is your social security numbers. Because whenever we first started coming into the United States, who were here? Germans. What were the Germans doing when you started coming into the United States? Changing your names. What did the Germans know? The phonetics. So what ended up happening? Everybody's name, your name, whatever you were called, it's what you became. It was higher frequency. They knew how it was being run in currents. 1983, what did the Air Force do? And this was the lead Air Force. What did they do? They put me underwater 25 feet below sea level, basically 11 from Stranger Things, and they dropped me into a lower dimension. They used me in order to go back and pull World War II timelines and connections. Now, here's the thing that I woke up knowing. And this whole time, these entertainment characters that have been around me since 2020, involved in this whole quantum machine of sacrifice and BS, holding current of human collective energy. They all took our socials, set up mimics, set up clones, set up entities, set up corporations linked to our social security numbers. Now, here's what I woke up realizing. All of our social security numbers were fake. Our social security numbers in X generation were changed in 1983. So if you had a social security card and a number after 1983, then those social security numbers had already been quantumly refigured. Which means that the entire infrastructure that these entities thought that they stole from the United States, connected into what they thought that they were getting their hands on, isn't what they got. Y'all have to remember that beings like us, man, we knew the whole time. We reacted. Yeah, we cried a lot. We felt it when you ripped our freaking etheric bodies off of us and shrink. We felt it all. We told you not to do it. We gave you the chance to do the right thing in every single scenario. And then nobody, but you have to realize that we always knew that that's what was going to happen. And so basically, when it's a reset like this, because this is a 1,000,000-year reset. This was no normal time. And since it's a 1,000,000-year reset, what you're dealing with is 1,000,000 years of energy in a bubble that goes out really, really, really far from where you'd consider a human collective exists, because those energy bands are going to go and attach into all of the constellations and star points and the Venus transits and like everything from a 1,000,000-year cycle. And so we've been wielding 1,000,000 years worth of energy. And that's why this timeline that we're in right now, and it's been so chaotic. Now, the entities that came in to take over and hack the human system couldn't go as far out as we could. So it had been being done. It had been done. I mean, this was happening right underneath our noses. We weren't even realizing this was all going on. It's been happening for a long time. It's why none of us were escalating in our careers. It's why none of us were escalating with our businesses, and it got worse and worse and worse and worse and worse, because in another timeline they were already running it. Every time that they came for our identification, and every time that they hooked into our IDs, what we did was go deeper. What we did was go another layer above it and resurrect whatever was connected to that creation and that DNA line. Then basically we went over it. If someone came for the business, and someone came for your DNA, and someone came for your social because of what you were about to do next, what you did was go a little bit further out with the idea, with the concept, where it actually came from, originated from there. So whenever you do that to a human collective over and over and over for 4 years, what you end up doing is hitting the grandfather clause and a wall, because this current timeline that even what you'd consider the politicians are even attempting to run right now was one stolen from 1943, 1953, 1963, 1973, 1983. I've been saying it for a while. Like energetically, we're all going back to a 1983 original setting. Before it got any information got taken out, any DNA was siphoned, anything was changed, your storyline was changed, what you were doing, why were you here, what were you supposed to go to college? Probably not. Like, I know I wasn't supposed to go to college. There were certain ones of us that there were certain things that we didn't need to bring back into the dimension, and then this doing what they did made all of us go more 3D quicker. But everything's being used on to help us. But it's why it took so long. This is why it's taking so long. The only ones that can stop it are the humans. So hear what I'm telling you. It's gonna go more and more ancient. If you don't have ancient connections, then I don't know what to tell you. You're gonna have to rebirth them. But I mean, this is where we're at in the world, because nobody knows what's really going on here. Nobody understands quantum energy. The whole world's being run by starseed physics. The entire world is being run by starseed physics in a bubble. Science and mathematicians and all of y'all got to start putting humans in your equation from now on. I can't wait to see that math. You're gonna put a whole bunch of beakers in a room, and then you're gonna turn on the gases. Then you're gonna measure the gases, but you're gonna forget that there's 20 humans standing in the room. Okay. Now this is also why Humerman's house was being they're out at his house again, because I mean, realize this was 150 years of Disney overrights. New Orleans thought that they would be able to hold because they had the sequence over balancing over New Orleans for 3,000 years. China thought that they were going to be able to hold because before New Orleans had for 3,000 years, China had for 7,000 years. Every single bit of why everything is down here. Any organization, any government structure, any secret society structure, any financial structure, all of it, all of it was literally made for end of days, for the humans to connect in a AI shift coming out of AI, and literally every human came to attack the ending of it. Literally. It's mind blowing. It's absolutely mind blowing. You stole from yourself. You bound yourself to something that you're trying to MURDER. Okay. Every single one of them that took our whatever realized that they're going into the energetic now of whatever we had to do in order to make the energy that they took. In writing themselves into our timelines in order to take what we had built up for thousands and thousands and thousands of years, being on the side of this that wasn't ruled by the devil, that wasn't ruled by Satan, that wasn't ruled by AI, that was true human consciousness. We were on the side that always lost over and over and over and over and over again, always knowing at some point that we would win. Well, we just did. And so all these entities want to just go and jump into the future and steal the future timelines where the entire processors are awake and everything's running in pure frequency, and then you want to put your name on it and then take it from the being that actually is connected to it and actually can run it for the collective whenever your body is not even able to run it, and then you want to say it's yours. Okay, well, your body can't hold it. Thanks for bringing it in. Thanks for bringing it into the timeline. Thanks for writing it in the timeline. Thanks for even coiling it up all under our social security numbers, because we blow them up today. They're deleted. We delete the entire infrastructure from 1943 socials. We delete it. All socials and all data, all ID data, all passport data, all driver's license data, I order it all to be rearranged to line up to the correct beings that are supposed to be holding the energetic. And even if you don't want to line it up, I command that the collective that sacrificed for it and family lines that built it manage it. It was like Invasion of the Clay People. It's really hard for the human race to get this, because everybody sees himself as so separate. But whenever you see it from way out and you see the energy strands and how those energy strands are connected in these dimensional aspects, it's real easy. It's real easy to see how it works. From the human 3D perspective, it feels like it's taking forever. Whenever it's like everything was, I mean, we let them build everything up on our socials. But see, here's the thing. Like, for instance, Cohu 32. Cohu 32 is how the currency moves in the digital commerce that everybody is waiting for with NESARA GESARA. Well, Clinton signed that into effect 2010 on the exact day that I went into St. John Parish, Evergreen, to do it. But said I was in 2020. Same exact day, 10 years later, I was in New Orleans cleaning up the Evergreen, cleaning up Baton Rouge, cleaning up Louisiana, all but 10 years prior. Bill signed NESARA GESARA on the same exact day that I did it. (2010s) when NESARA GESARA came in. NESARA GESARA is human energy is the moneymaker, because it's a quantum flip reality. Think about that. This is why I keep telling everybody there is no more money. There isn't. There's no more money. There's no more money as per what you think it is, because our DNA lines aren't underground making it for you anymore. We know there's not anymore. The entire financial system, the way everyone was enslaved in different dimensions in order to make a current that money was backed on, and then for geopolitics to run it in a system in after death timelines, is blown up. There's We came out of your damn planet. We came out of your simulation. I don't care if you're a Morgan or a Rothschild or whatever it is. You no longer have a hidden sister or a hidden mother inside the system that's holding it up anymore. We got everybody out. Your digital commerce ain't gonna flow because you didn't allow us to finish it. So you just stole a whole bunch of money from the future, but then you didn't allow for the company that made it in the future to make it. So then what did you steal? Nothing. It's gonna vanish. You have to realize money got caught in the system the same as the same as grandfather clause. If you're a time traveler and then you accidentally undo the timeline that made you have the ability to travel, what happens? That's what happened down here. There's been remote viewers in corporations since the 70s. Now, this is something I didn't find out until 2018 when I met the guy that Rumpy Rump worked with in order to do it, who used to work for the government looking for beings that had the X factor in their blood. Not the M, the X's. The X's, all your little X's. Well, if you have X's on your palms, then you have an X sequence in your DNA strand, and it means that you're attached to the parallel dimension, and you can see into the parallel dimension. Well, we'd call the parallel dimension New Earth. I hope everybody gets the seriousness of this right now. I really do. I really do. And this is why I've cried myself to sleep so many nights knowing that all the masonry blew. Because now the other thing that's happening right now is India's masonry is getting blown. India. Your masonry is being overridden. Now, this is because of H.P. Blavatsky. And I walked this part. So H.B. Blavatsky, man, she tried. She knew what was going on. She was the one that was in charge of like training us and finding us and developing your own little Siri network in the beginning, you could say. Basically, it went from the Vril into H.B. Blavatsky, and this is where these channels and you were being taught in order to master your abilities and powers, but then also it was the hybridization of beings and baby farming and everything else in lab in order to make us more powerful and with more gifts. But none of the brotherhoods would let HB on their teams. Although we were the feminine and we knew everything that was going to happen, HB saw all the timelines. She tried to get into any type of brotherhood in order to assist, but they wouldn't let her in unless she agreed to some very specific things, which she would not agree on. So then basically her only option, because then they did so much spell work on her, put her in a tower, blah, 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 blah. Some Masons from India approached her and said, hey, we'll work with you. And so the entire feminine infrastructure that was running throughout every dimensional timeline, because there is no time, especially at end of days, all the information that the feminines have been getting is from that plan. And HB saw that is going to be risky, that there was going to be a time of dominance, but that eventually, whenever the DNA set in, whenever we activated all the recessive genes, enough of us were connected into it that the collective would overpower the infrastructure. And that's where we're at right now. That's where we're at right now. And this is why if you're not a feminine in the highest descended, you have no idea what's going on. You got no idea what's going on. And universal law has been stepping in this whole time. So most of the crazy stuff that we're watching play out all over the world right now is everybody's karma for trying to hack the human code and control the world. It's all happening. Even the helicopter thing that happened right on cue when something else was going on over here. Like you can in another timeline. Also, what we're seeing really clear in our personal worlds, probably because I know I am, is this is the first time that we're in this timeline. That's I mean, I know for me it's why I'm like standing still, I feel like I'm not although I'm doing a shit ton of etheric work and all that, but I'm just so used to it at this point. It feels like I'm not doing anything. I'm so tired of sitting here waiting for whatever because I can't make a move yet because it's still playing out. But the reason it feels like we're not moving and we're not doing anything is because it's the first time that we're actually in the timeline. So what we're witnessing is, especially this week, and this week is we're gonna be seeing things play out in our current in your physical world, in your physical surroundings in your world, and then also in the macrocosm of it all, showing you what it was when you weren't in it, which feels freaking weird because it's like you're in it. I hope that is making sense. It's so hard to does that make sense? This is hard. These are hard to communicate. Like, for instance, in my world, they were planning on having me locked up in an insane asylum somewhere. And in another timeline, it's where I was. Locked up somewhere. Somehow. So in my current little world, it's like I'm waiting to do a couple of 3D things in order to reconnect some things to get it going. And I was hoping that I would be able to do it this week. But what I'm seeing is that I can't because I'm letting it fall. I'm letting it fall. Yeah, I'm here right now. I'm here. I can go to the bank and I can connect that and I can turn the website on, but you kind of screwed up the timeline, so I'm not going to. I'm not gonna attach into this crap. I'm gonna wait till this crap is solidified, then I'll turn it on. But I'm not gonna power up the machine that you just stole everything from, and then you're gonna make me go work for the money that you've already taken. No, How about screw you? How about we warned you? How about you start recognizing who the fuck we all really are now? Because we know that that's all it is. You're terrified of who we really are. Well, evidently you weren't scared enough. So now you should be scared. You should be very scared. You just attack divine beings. So in our world, we ain't going to save you now. We already told you. We ain't cleaning up your crap. We're out of this machine. You decided that you want to be us. You clean it. You energetically clean it. You do it. You do it with all your DNA lines. Whoever came in, we ain't doing it. We ain't doing it. We've already done it. We've already connected it enough in order to get the real back in session. So now you can drum up your own energy by cleaning your own resources. And I can promise you, you ain't going to get a gold meteor out of it. You'd be lucky to get some pencil shavings whenever you're done because of the energy that you hold. Is that making sense, y'all? I keep hearing Terrence. I'm just going to say Terrence. See, this is a great that whole thing with Howard. That's a great example of how this thing kept going over and over and over and over again. First of all, in a stolen government system, how'd you get 97 patents? In a stolen government system to where all of us that are the true seeds that were here to set it up the appropriate way and all of our patents were stolen and then we were gridded down in social security numbers in order to hide our true identity and so someone in could take our place. How did you end up with 97 patents? Number two, you're going to set everybody up in your own periodic table in order to set everybody to frequency? No, you're not. You think that you're going to hold that in a you're going to do what? You're going to tune the elements to pick up human frequency and bind with it? No, you're not. You think that you can just relabel the periodic table and then put it all in frequency bands and control it by sound whenever the periodic table blew up because you can't hold an element? You can't hold a frequency in a bind. You can't do that without us. You can't do that unless you're trained to be able to write new plasma. Do you know how to write new plasma? Do you? Do you know how to go in the United States and set up an electrical grid system? Do you know how to set up a city system? Do you know how to anchor that into the cosmic energetics, into the lines, into the electric lines and everything else in order for it to hold? I do. I know how to do it. They had us doing it. That's what that's you can't. That's our system. You can't use it. Now what did I say? You can't if you're gonna try to stake a flag and then anchor down and you do it too soon, then what do you end up doing? Blowing it up. Because if the beings aren't in control of the ones that actually set up the system, that actually set up the United States system, again, that repulled the planet out of a pole, because we pulled it out of Poland. It was pulled at 88D from Aurora, Colorado. Not anymore. Your little periodic table might have worked if they would have pulled off their 88D thing. But the funny thing is, my whole team was attacked for that, and then y'all tried to spinal tap me to hold a solar sonar frequency system. And so you were just going to bind up the 100 beings again and then put us down in your court and take our names and take our places and change our faces and make them a little bit more darker because it bothered you what color we came out, even though we're like all the colors mixed together. Okay. Well, can't wait to see how that turns out. And Howard, this is where you need to start talking to the real beings that know what the fuck. And I can promise you that we're not going to be in what you consider your current crowd. Because we can fix it. We can utilize it. But your current crowd of people ain't going to be the ones it's going to be able to give you the full knowledge structure on it. I can promise you that. The system broke. The system stopped. The soul machine stopped. Everybody had just written on top of another soul machine. It's just going to be another soul frequency. It's just going to be another. We're just going to build on top of it, build on top of it, build on top of it. No, you're not. No, you aren't. It's impossible. You can't. The divine knew that. It's literally set up to where they can't get anything out of what they stole until they come meet you face to face and renegotiate with you. Otherwise, everything that they built is just, it's stagnant. Nothing. We're just going to sit here. We're just going to sit here and twiddle our thumbs because we ain't going to create nothing. We ain't going to do shit. We hadn't for over a year. We'll just sit here. Everybody can go pretend that they had a choice and choose a different twin and broadcast it on Instagram. Go ahead. We don't give a fuck. Go ahead. We already knew. You think it's going to hurt us? No. We already knew you did it. It's also like for all of us who are used to having, a little bit more power and control in the ethers, it's like there's very few things that we're even getting involved with right now. If someone raises their hand and says, "Save me, save me, save me," we ain't coming. We've learned our lesson right now. We got to get stable. We can't help anybody if we don't get stable. We won't be able to help the rest out if we don't get a stability and have something to pull up in. Otherwise, you get out and then you fall right back in because there's nowhere for you to stand. Now, all this is mirroring from last week even. All this is mirroring. Last week on the 14th, I tried to turn on the website. New Jersey, I got a question. What'd you do to Cohue 32 website? Because you're the ones who just blew it all up. You should have just let me turn it on. You should have just let me turn it on. You shouldn't have taken it down 2 months early, and you shouldn't have done what you did, because what you did was now none of the stuff that y'all stole, even the DNA that you stole, even the geogrids that you think you have all these NATO power and controls off over and to maneuver the collective, didn't go into the internet technology system. You didn't let it get built. Like literally they went into the future and stole a human harvesting system and set it up per how they understood it, and they set it up all wrong. Because they saw it as a human harvesting machine, because in their lower dimension, that's how they would see it. But it's actually what happens to the human race when you're coming out of a collective Orion alignment going into Ophiuchus. and blowing up all elementals so everything can start all over again per evolution. It's not a human harvesting machine. That's what you thought it was. That's why you came in and you wanted the energetics of it. You wanted the high vibe energy of it. You wanted the flip count. You wanted to be able to control the air. You wanted to be able to read all ciphers. You threw the kitchen sink at us templates. You gathered every most ancient freaking wizard, most ancient Hindu wizard. I mean, like, they had hybridized the crap out of the DNA that they threw in our fields. They just didn't think that we'd be able to process it. That's why they're all scared of us now. They should be. We're their worst nightmare. But they made us. It's all devised for it, too. We always knew this is how it was going to go down. Always knew. Always knew. Well, that makes sense, because Orion's a projector. Ophiuchus is supposed to come in alignment 963 or 693 years ago, depending on the flip count. I had a conversation with Eric Trump March this year. And everything was about codes. And he tells me, this is what he tells me. He tells me there's more to this than codes. Not right now, there's not. He's wrong. No, there isn't. All there is codes. Because for 693 years or 963 years too long, everything's been run off codes. Because everything should have been finished then. Their tour was over. They didn't want it to end. This is why they were always coming after the Sumerian, the Ophiuchus. That's what O is. O, blood based on Ophiuchus. This is why Bellatrix and Beltages and your Orion energies are freaking way out that way in the macrocosm whenever the evolutionary cycle goes this way. How did Sirius end up over there, and Beltages and Bellatrix all end up way the freak out that way? Everything was going the wrong direction. Wasn't even on an evolutionary starseed DNA map. That's why. Everything's only went off codes. Right now, the sun is in the very beginning degrees of Gemini. Well, it's not on Cohu 32, okay? But the very beginning degrees of Gemini, that's blue avian degrees. What's a blue avian? Avatar. That can be embodied. A complete projection avatar that meets with the spirit in the 3D and then basically becomes it. Also, this energy can come in and clean house quick. It's one big angelic energy charge that if you're tapped into it, then you will work in a unit of 1 million strangers in one maneuver, and you won't ever even know. Blue avian. Beginning degrees of Gemini. Sun's going into Gemini right now. Gemini is dense energy. The very first one you get to that's a Cohu 32, it's orange and royal blue. It's called the Hyades. It's Orion. It's Orion Hyades. You'd call it the Nephilim. You'd call it the Elohim, which basically is all O negative blood. But whenever you come out of Taurus into Gemini, whenever you fall out of Pleiades and you fall into the wheel from the birth canal in the Pleiades, then you go like cloudy of meatballs into a big jello. You land in a big jello. What was I telling y'all the other day? That everybody was coming up into the ascended was coming up into the Jello molds. People were starting to pop in there. Who's gonna have who's the real characters? They're starting to pop in. Then everybody's kind of in their own little Jello. Everybody's kind of getting their frequency back together because crap, you just I fell. Boom. Okay, and then the Jello's going to start getting supercharged, and then basically everybody who's in their little holes in the Jello is starting to run messages through the Jello. Blue avian. 3 degrees, you're going to hit the high 8s. Now it's going to feel like hell. If you are in your Jello and you don't know how to engage your frequency to start taking down the Jello that's in between you and the others, then you're going to get stuck in there. And then you're a firefly in a dark cave. And then what happens is all of your powers and gifts and energies are mirrored back onto you. Doesn't that sound like the Matrix? Realize that space, just like the Matrix, but space in and of itself is going to mirror back all of your powers and abilities. Literally. The Matrix don't even have to know who you are. Space doesn't even know who you are. Space doesn't have technology that's no. It's just going to mirror your powers and gifts back onto you until you master it. Is what it does. If you're walking around in my codes, then you better get to mastering. If you're walking around in my codes and you're walking around with my abilities, but you don't have them turned on, oh shit. Sun's gonna go into heights first. Like I said, that's 3 to 5 degrees. So it's got an orb of like 1 to 7, if you will. But 3 to 5 is gonna 3 to 5 degrees Gemini. You got any energy in 3 to 5 degrees Gemini, then that is the high 8s. Your lessons and your whole life is going to have a darker undertone to it. You're going to like horror movies. You're going to be petrified of them. But your world is kind of already set up like that. Everything's dark and light, but evil and not evil. Evil and not evil. That's it. Nothing in between. You get out of high 8s, 7 degrees to 11 degrees of Gemini. That's Aldebaran. Well, Aldebaran, all constellations that are called Al or have Al in them. Every single one of the constellations that have Al in it bound together at some point and looped back in order to hit at Gemini. And then that's Archangel Michael. That's what you'd call New Earth. But realize it's only New Earth to the ones who just got out of hell. Soon as you get out of hell and you're like, oh, great, we just parted the Red Sea. We just got out of Egypt. Yay, we're home. We're home. Were we? No. It felt like it. It felt like it because it's so bad down there. But realize that's all that is. That's what Aldebaran is. That's why Archangel Michael, that's like, you want to call Michael if you're in a matrix situation. If you're in a high house situation, Michael is not the one to call. Trust me on that. If it's a matrix situation, you can call Michael. If you're out of the matrix, Michael can't do shit. In fact, Michael was one that was replaced in the parallel stealing your crap in order to hold everybody in Gemini. The Michaels in the parallels became Michelles, and they did. The Michaels in the parallel became Michelles. And the ones that weren't true stayed in Michelle. They never connected with Antares up in Uriel. They never connected to Sagittarius. They didn't complete the wheel. In order to master Gemini, you've got to master Sagittarius and then master Gemini. Then you master Sagittarius. Then you master Ophiuchus. You got to master Sagittarius. So you got to be shown that you can wield collective energy, which I'm telling you this right now because the moon is in Scorpio. The moon's at the very beginning degrees of Scorpio. This is why all this is even coming up right now. Every single collective alchemy thing that's been done. I had to do the puzzle. Every single collective alchemy cycle that any organizations use, any of them, is coming from human energy. When planets are in Scorpio, that's where the alchemy is taking place. Right now, the moon is about to hit 12 to 14 degrees Scorpio. Well, every single collective ill spell was done 12 to 14 degrees Scorpio. So it's coming through the moon right now. The moon is coming through Scorpio, where all this stuff is kind of streaming. But we're here now. We've already set up a higher infrastructure, if you will, back to Eagle. So some of them are in Scorpio. We're in Eagle. If you're still in Scorpio, you're feeling the hell out of this. If you're still in the Scorpio frequency because you need to still clean your energy, unbind, get connected into a higher current, you are going to feel it the next couple of days. If you're in an ascended count, you're more like Eagle. Like I said, we're having to go through it because Scorpio didn't ride us down there. We had to become the Eagle up here. We're flying over it. When it hits Sagittarius, then we turn our blasters on. Not Scorpio. Not Scorpio. Our blasters and our Eagle energy is actually made from a connection from Sagittarius to Libra. It's not made in underwater Scorpio. I'm telling y'all all this because this is where the moon in the next couple of days, because it takes 2.5 days. It just entered yesterday. So today is Tuesday. So it entered yesterday. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, sometime Wednesday, Thursday, the moon is going to go into Ophiuchus 2 in Sagittarius, and that's when we turn our power jets on. And it's also where a lot of you will be tested in different ways on if you're ready to hold that energy. You want to pass that test. And it's gonna have a lot to do with patience. And it's gonna have a lot to do with the people in your surroundings asking you to do different things. Basically, like what's going to be tested is your emotional intuition. Our right? And me and one other in the crew know for a fact that we were just tested on if we're going to jump back in and save anybody. But we didn't. We won't. We refuse. Archangel Michael's will be replaced in the matrix structure as new ones come in, because that's an energetic that you embody. Archangel Michael energy, Archangel Uriel energy, Archangel Gabriel energy, Archangel Raphael energy. I mean, you embody that. All that Akashic library and everything comes into you when you prove that you're a protector or a healer or a driver or the those of us who have been playing these characters since 2018 in groups for the collective, your energy's cut from it. It's been pulled out. You need to be okay with that, and you need to realize why. If you're not quite yet, you'll hit it next cycle. But you're going to be tested. The experience is going to show up on why you shouldn't have helped that person this whole cycle. Now, at the same time that our energy is pulling out of that in order to set up here, new energetics are coming in, new Michaels, new Raphaels, new Uriels that are more tuned to that layer instead of way out there and way down there. Because we've already connected way down there and way up there. That's why we can't jump in right now. Because if we jump in to save you, we go all the way down with you and have to come all the way back up. Well, our foundation isn't set up here enough. We've learned our lesson now. We've done that enough times to realize that that's what they want us to do. Because then every time we go back in, they seal it. So what's happening right now is that we've shut that off. Nobody's going to get help. Nobody's getting saving right now. Everybody's on their own for just a minute because all the archangels are being shuffled. We're no longer in archangel energy when you're all the way up here. You're all of it put together. You're the whole freaking thing working together in one. And you can control the very bottom of it. The densest pieces of it. You want us to build from here and here. Now, everyone else that's in the middle that's jumping into these characters now in order to prove their cycle, in order to get all the way up and down so that we no longer need this middle layer, that's what's going to start kicking in. So the ones of you that are getting that you need to put up more protection on people, the ones that know that you need to be doing more healings on people, the one, right? That is necessary for this next layer because you're also clearing different frequency bands. You're not clearing the same things that we cleared. You're clearing more of the connectors into the foundations that need to be cleared, which is why this Generation X paying back the debt is such a big deal. And it really isn't even about making money on TikTok. It's about cleaning timelines for Generation X in the quantum. But see how everyone just kind of came up and it all came together? That's how it's going to continue to happen. Then you might get more alerts. If you start getting a whole bunch of alerts of different groups that are in trouble, that this, and this, then realize that's Archangel Michael energy. When they're calling for Michael, you're getting it. You're getting it. This then makes you have to figure out how to help them without physically being there. And it's just part of the mastery of this cosmic energy. When we get to Regulus, we'll have more of, when we get to Leo, when Moon gets to Leo, it'll be more of the healing stuff coming in again. When it gets to Uriel, then a lot of the grid workers, you're going to have a new set of grid workers. Because we've already cleaned the grid that we needed to clean. They've already ascended and brought it up. It doesn't make anyone more important because each one has to be done. Well, Miss Marcy, if you blame them, then you're in trouble. Because what you need to realize is you can't blame anybody. Everybody was, see, this is, and this is just something along your experience you'll finally get to. That you can't blame no group. You can't blame anybody for what happened down here, for how people were acting. Because everything was being controlled and manipulated. the more that you go through this and the more that you blame and judge anybody or organizations, then the more that it'll be shown to you and you'll have to interact with those organizations and with those structures until you understand that you can change it, and that also that's the extent that everybody was being controlled down here. This is where the compassion comes in. Trust me, I did that. Like, you don't want to do it that way. Like our group had to live through taking down all the cults and all the orcs because everybody was blaming them. Everybody gave them the power, and then that's what came at us. And we all had to interface with it and freaking go into the system to put them down. But it was only because we were blaming them. We gave them the power. So do yourself a favor. I'm helping you right now. Don't do it that way. Because then you'll be like us and you'll find out some crap that you just wish you didn't know that you knew how to do. Or maybe you're supposed to, just like we did. Because we need backup. And everybody's got to get trained. Now, what I want everyone to understand is whenever you're coming into these new layers for the first time, I want you to remember that you're ascended or above and below. You're ascended or above and below you. As long as you're using your intuition and you're attempting to use your gifts for the collective, not for anything just for you and yours, for the collective, then you're covered. There ain't nothing you can do that's going to mess you up. You're going to get guided. You're going to know the last bit of every recipe. You're going to know exactly what to do. Even if you get caught up in some shit, you'll get caught up in it just long enough to realize, oh crap, I shouldn't be here. And then the door will open and you'll be able to get out of it. Then it becomes a lesson, which is what we're all having to learn. We're all having to learn. All of us in Ascended that are up here, we're having to learn a new set of stuff. We ain't done yet by any means. We've just got out of the Matrix part. Okay? And as a collective, running a collective together, running a collective machine together, it's never been done before. Even Howard with his little whatever. I'm sure that in some way we've used it to assist us, but my point is it's not the end all be all. It's not the solution. It's not high enough information. It's only gonna, if we took that construct and built out that entire construct of his new periodic table, it only lasts 2 years and then it'd blow again anyway. Then you see what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. Not high enough out. I mean, at this point, and I never thought I'd say it, but even the entertainer characters that came in and messed with me, I mean, thank you. The collective thanks you. We thank you. You trained us. You did. You went fishing. You found us so completely sedated and covered with moss that we did not have any idea who we really were. But you knew, and you were right. And as you came after us in order to do whatever spell work or anything else, it turned on all of our abilities to take down every bit of your spell work and us to see exactly how powerful and who we were. If you wouldn't have chose us, if you chose somebody else, then we wouldn't have known. And your picker was correct. You picked correctly. Snaps to you. But what you did was turn on everything that ever was formed in order to make each little step. And now what you've got to do is go prove that you have the ability to hold it and you were there at creation. Problem is, none of y'all were. None of you. And problem is, until the bitter end, you came after us and you wouldn't even meet with us. We weren't interested in having your babies. That's what you wanted from us. All we were interested in is meeting you one time in order to flip the timelines. But since you didn't want to do that, then none of that information is merged into your field and you're basically written to blow. Not our problem anymore. Not our problem anymore. So I'm going to hang up. That's what I'm getting today. This is where we're at. Today is a 1 day. Tomorrow is 0 point. So today is 1 day in one. Today is 1 day in a 10-day. So this is like 10 things happening. This is also a 3D day. It's 008. The date in numerology 05212-024 equals 008. Tomorrow is 0 point again. 060 on the 22nd. Then we're going to move into the full moon, and that's a 5D day. And we have some 6D days that are coming up in the next couple of weeks. That last year we had 60 days, but they were only binary. We had like 3 6D days in June last year, but they were all binary codes. And this year they're flipping out of binary. So why I'm telling you that is last year in June, we already set up this infrastructure. Like I said, we stopped playing over a year ago. We were running the game. It was our fucking game. You think you know more about it than us? Oh, yeah. Impossible. I'll be back soon. Y'all have a good day. Thank y'all for being here. Keep serving.